Welcome everyone, welcome citizens to the start of another Discord AMA with myself, Kyle, the marketing lead for Supremacy, and Supremacy's CEO, Alex. Alex, are you connected in?
Hey everyone, how are we going? Can you hear me all right? I'm using a different mic than usual.
Yeah, got your audio.
All right, let's do this thing.
Excellent. So today, guys, we're going to have another AMA. If you'd like to come up to speak, feel free to just request your speak, and we'll get started. So Air Power Luke coming up on stage with us, Alex.
Hey, what's going on, team? How y'all doing today?
Hey Luke, not bad, yourself?
Another beautiful day here in South Korea, right? Hey guys, I just had a quick question. I noticed, I understand you guys are experiencing some delays with some launch, but first and foremost, amazing project. I think you guys are revolutionary and ahead of the curve with what you guys are trying to accomplish. So first and foremost, I just want to thank you for your dedication to making sure that this project has a successful launch, and your commitment to your stakeholders. So thank you for that.
Oh, thanks, Luke. It's always nice to get some positive feedback.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, yeah. So my question really just revolves around the Delta Force announcement that you guys had made. I know I myself had went in there and submitted a request to be a part of that movement because me as a stakeholder, I'm here to try to help the team in any way that I possibly can, whether it's shilling, whether it's doing whatever's required, right, to advance and push this project forward. So I was just wondering if you guys actually had a date in mind as to when you were going to notify some of the folks who had requested to become a participant in the Delta Force event that you guys had.
Yeah, so we'll be basically onboarding people over the next few days, and then on Tuesday, our full staging platform, which is on testnet, BSC testnet, will be opened to everyone in Delta Force. So yeah, onboarding is already beginning, and full staging open Tuesday.
Okay, good copy. That's the only question I had. Thank you, guys.
Oh, great. Thanks, Luke.
Oh,
hey, Kilroy.
Alex. Hi. Evening. I guess my question has to do, I guess, with the dreaded balancing. It seemed like last night the enforcer was kind of getting demolished, and I saw that on the stat. We now have like stats, kind of on the mechs, where Red Mountain. Olympus Mons has about 50% more max armor, and ZB has more regen, so RM is better kind of in a straight battle continuously, and ZB is kind of stronger in a drawn out battle, so it gets to use its regen, but but the speed of the enforcer isn't really being used to its full extent by the AI yet, and it also has only 2 weapons instead of 3. Is there any potential rebalancing in the mix to make the enforcer a little more competitive? Because it always seems like it's getting knocked out first, unless BC uses a lot of actions, which uses a lot of sups, which when BC loses, just kind of hemorrhages sups to Red Mountain and Zabitsu. So is there any potential rebalancing before the relaunch of the battle arena?
Yeah, it's one of the things on our agenda for the open testing platform for the Delta Force recruits. So we obviously we want to make sure that it's as balanced as we can get it before we relaunch. That's definitely one of the things really high up on the agenda. And that includes the abilities. So, for example, we've had a lot of people point out that Zaibatsu's syndicate ability is conceptually different from the other two. So we're looking at least testing in the testing platform a more aligned ability. Some people have suggested like a drone attack type thing. We might look into that. Yeah, it's definitely important. And this open testing platform with essentially real players will allow us to really try a lot of different mechanisms to balance them. One of the things we've realized just from the launches, the stalled launches we've had, is that our simulations don't run the same way because real player behavior is actually effectively a lot different. It's kind of like the difference between playing Monopoly with Monopoly money or playing Monopoly with real money, and people act differently, but they also act differently in a way that we honestly couldn't have predicted. We thought people would be a bit more conservative with their abilities firing, and turned out to be the opposite of that. And the way those abilities have kind of affected the way the mechs themselves balance out has been a pretty fun surprise. But it does mean that we've realized that we need to at least simulate real play as closely as we possibly can, and that's why we're opening up the staging of the testing platform.
Okay, perfect. So we're kind of looking at rebalancing both powers and maybe the mechs themselves, if that's necessary for balance.
Yeah, there is also ongoing work with the AIs. Like each syndicate has a totally separate AI with the different personalities. So and that's like ongoing work that also is informed by the data of every battle that plays. So that'll constantly receive tweaks, and we prefer when things are balanced by shifts in AI behavior, because it means you don't nerf anything, and you don't have to just make a stat OP.
Right.
You bring in actual strategic play. But yeah, we'll use each avenue to bring some balance to it.
Oh, sounds great. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, thanks for the great question.
So if you'd like to come up on stage and chat, then feel free to tap the requests, and we'll invite you up to speak.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Going well, how are you?
Hey, not bad. Yourself?
Doing good, doing good. So I've got a few different questions. So unfortunately, I haven't had as much time as I would have liked to be playing the game. But moving forward, I'm going to have some more free time, and I am stoked for it to come back on. You guys are building just a beautiful game. I could go on and on. But my first question is, as far as the rewards go, I am one of the ones who am down a little bit in subs because I didn't really do my research in understanding that if you put subs into a game and you lose, you don't get those subs back. So that's kind of my first question, is if I just go hard and my team loses, do I get any subs back, or is everything I put in distributed to the winners?
So I've got an answer to that. That's a bit of a multifaceted answer. We will be doing some return of transactions just to get everyone close to where they were before the games. We realized that we didn't do our due diligence and explain exactly what happened with the votes. So that will be dealt with. We obviously won't take any subs from people who came out better on the other side, but we'll rebalance it. The new system that will be in the testing platform on Tuesday won't have the same mechanism. So without giving too much away just yet, you won't lose subs just because you didn't win that battle. So we're actually changing the ability competitions slightly, just a slight tweak, and I think that will please everyone. So I hope that answers your question.
That is an awesome thing to hear because I lost my butt on that day you guys came back up. Oh, I lost so many subs. I was devastated, but I wanted to let you guys know. I currently live in the United States in Texas, and my son, who is 24 years old, he lives in Indiana. That's 1,000 miles away, and we queued in together on the same fight because he's BC and I'm BC. We actually our bots queued in together and not on purpose. Like I thought it was amazing, and he texted me. He's like, "Is that you?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me. Is that you?" And it was fantastic. And I had to
That's
let you guys
brilliant.
know. Yeah, it was an amazing coincidence, and it's so cool. I mean, I knew he played, but we did not have that timed out on purpose. So I just want to thank you guys for making that happen, that little connection with my son, because I don't get to see him very much. Because, like I said, we're 1,000 miles away, and it was pretty radical. I loved it.
I love hearing that. That is a great story. Brilliant. Yeah, thank you so much for telling us.
So my question is, I actually work a full-time job during the day here in Texas, which is night out there at Perth. I don't know the time zones by heart, but I know it's nighttime. Um, like people are telling me good morning whenever I get home from work out there from Australia. So as far as the what's it called, the Delta team goes, I would absolutely love to be involved with that testing, but I work 8 or 9 hours a day, and then I come home. I'm gonna play Supremacy anytime I get the chance. I want to watch those battles. I think they're so exciting, and it's just it's great. I don't think I'll ever play another game that I don't get paid to play. I really don't think I will. But anyway, is that going to be a factor in deciding whether you make the team or not? Knowing what time zone you're in, will we have to be on at a specific time if we get chosen to be on that team?
No, I mean coverage from all time zones is what we're looking for. So uh, essentially, what we're really looking for to be part of the team is the willingness to be part of the team. You know,
Okay.
so yeah, it's people who really want to get in and help us with the direction and the testing. So yeah, it's more than just play it and make sure it works well. It's also people who'll be able to give us feedback on new mechanisms before we put it out to the greater public. So yeah, you sound exactly like what the kind of person we want in that team.
Great. Glad to hear it. Also, kudos to Babelfish for putting in that feedback channel. I've been reading through the suggestions. There's some really good ones on there, and that's a great idea. I'm so happy to find an organization that is trying to connect so well with the community because it's just really cool. So I appreciate you guys putting in that extra page, going the extra mile, so that we can give our 2 cents, and maybe we can actually have an effect on the future of the game, which is amazing.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that. That is exactly what we're going for. Essentially, we're all gamers, and we understand that often that there isn't that two-way communication, and so we're trying to make that a feature of us and the game itself. And it has some drawbacks, but I think overall it's better for everyone, including us.
Right on. All right. Well, thanks again, guys. Keep up the great work, and I look forward to every AMA. Love hearing from you. So thanks.
Yeah, great. Thanks for the awesome question, and thanks for sharing a cool story.
So if there's anyone listening that would like to come up and ask some questions with Alex, please just request to come up and speak, and we'll get you up on stage.
I was going to let Jay go next.
Hey Jay, you with us?
No,
Make
he's
the
gone.
decision
All right.
for you.
He's on his way back in.
Hey, can you guys hear?
Yep, we can
We
hear
can
you.
hear you.
Hey, sorry about that. That was so weird. Just voice wouldn't work. So I definitely love what you said about the subs. And so I do have a follow-up question on that. So I have a few friends that are wanting to ape into this game, but one of the things that they're hesitant about is I told them that I lost a decent amount of subs. So just to get some clarity, and if you can't give me the full answer, I understand. But let's just say, for example, I put in 1,000 subs or 3,000 subs or 10,000, whatever. Is there kind of like a limit to where I can lose in the game? Like it's maybe 1% of that or 5%, or are you saying that it's just not possible to lose any subs?
That's definitely a complex question. It's not so much losing subs. It's more akin to in-game purchases. We do realize that our mistake was making the voting system a win or lose. Essentially that was definitely a mistake, and we're refactoring to fix that now. And like I said, everyone who has actually lost subs in those battles will have them returned. So that's one thing we'll resolve pretty quickly, and it's another one of those mechanisms where until it's out there using real subs, you don't actually consider it. It's not until people are like, well, that kind of hurts. Not you don't get the ability and you don't get your subs. So we've reversed that, and the new mechanism coming in will still have that like aggressive get in before the other syndicate play, but you won't lose your subs, and it won't be as simple as like returning them, because that would kind of be like that would kind of mean it's like it wouldn't have that same all or nothing, but they won't be just wasted either. So they'll go into a future, go into the future. I don't want to explain too much because I'd rather just show everybody, but you definitely won't have that feeling of loss anymore.
No, for sure. And I definitely appreciate the explanation. And honestly, I don't mind at all. Like as investors, we have to really be able to hold ourselves accountable, and to ape into something on day when you launch, when you really don't know how it works, that's on me. So like you guys have an awesome project, and I bought the maximum amount of mechs. I bought 10 of the mystery crates. I got 2 of the like mega ones or whatever. Got a few friends who are interested in doing the same thing. And question I've got for you is, I know you said once it launches again, there will be some noticeable differences between, say, a Deus Ex versus a Mega. So part of my question is, how big of a difference do you see the gap being when it relaunches now versus maybe 3 to 6 months to a year down the road? And if you can't give me a complete answer, I totally understand that. But if someone's thinking of coming in and buying 10 mechs, what would be a good reason to tell them why it's worth to really try to get those more rare mechs?
So the rare mechs will have slight advantages and privileges in the system. Different rare mechs will have different privileges, and the lesser rares will maybe like their differences will be more aesthetic than it will be gameplay affecting or system affecting. Some of the more rare ones, you might have the ability to move faster through the queue, for example. there'll be different shield effects for different rares. So it will be a range of differences. We don't want the super rares to OP and dominate in battle, but some of them will just have slightly different stats. There'll be small differences. We never want a game where one mech can come in and just destroy the entire battlefield. So there's always the question of balance, and it's something we're always conscious of. There is also just the secondary markets, NFT markets. Rarities are obviously going to be more desirable there, and what it means is those three super rares, there'll never be any more of them, and people like that. So yeah, there's a range of ways in game and out of game that the rares will be more desirable, but we are always going to keep it in mind that it can't unbalance gameplay too much.
Right on. I love that. And I was curious how that was going to work with the balancing part. And I love that it's not like super overpowered, because that would really inhibit the game to a degree. So I definitely love everything you said there. And I just want to say that I have been pretty active in the Telegram chat. I've seen some people voicing concerns, but I've really spent a lot of time researching this project and the team and everything that you guys have going on. And I can tell this game is going to be one of the top ones. And I am just so excited to see where you guys take this. And I just want to say thank you guys for putting in the hard work and effort. Like, there might be some people complaining about this or that, but in my opinion, it's just people having different expectations than what reality is. And you guys are fucking kick-ass. Like, keep up the awesome work, and I'm really glad I found this project.
That's really cool to hear. Thank you for that. And yeah, Telegram's an interesting place, and I think it's really easy for people just to kind of stumble upon our website, or maybe an influencer who's covered us, and jump into the Telegram and think that we're kind of like every other project, where we're not very visible, we're not right on the front line, and kind of think, is this like every other potential rug pull or shovelware project? And we're not. And I think it becomes pretty clear once you start to dig through all of the content information we put out there. But I don't blame people for being suspicious, and I urge them to do their due diligence.
Okay, he's gone. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Okay, well, due to popular demand, I've got to cut it short today. Just a couple of, I guess we would like, or myself in particular, we'd love to know if there was an actual issue when the game was up in its last iteration. We know that there was an issue which was communicated in terms of battle wins not being paid out, but was the subs earning and how it works, was that correct? Because there was a massive difference between the first iteration of subs earning in arena versus what we saw yesterday.
It was correct. However, we had adjusted the distribution directly from the syndicate account and reduced it quite a bit. We wanted to make it so that the bots and the people who don't participate don't receive anything, and to make sure that that was the case, we had to kind of turn that tap off a bit, and that definitely made a huge difference from how it was the last time. So what we're kind of looking for now, especially with the testing platform for the Delta Force team, is a way to again, like, reward the people who participate strongly, and and not, not let the botters take like the majority of the pool just by connecting 1,000 bots. And we've already noticed a lot of that behavior. If you see the live viewing numbers, quite a lot of the time, a quarter of them are not connected to the video stream, and that's like a really good way to tell that they're not actually real people. So we're still doing a lot of tweaking and creating systems to keep them out. I think it'll be a constant battle we have. The multipliers will be better explained when the game relaunches, which will be not long after the Delta Force team kind of get on there and really pressure test it. And
that actually leads me to my next question, which I'm guessing then, if the Delta Force is going to be testing on Tuesday, we're not going to see Arena back up until Wednesday of next week at least.
Yeah, our internal ultimate deadline is Friday, but we're obviously, we're pushing for earlier than that. We've made a bit of a mistake of just being a bit too ambitious the last few times, and I don't want to repeat that mistake. So we're going to be just a little bit more careful, and that's why we need the testing team, and that allows anyone who really wants to get back on and start playing it again to at least have that opportunity too. But lets us manage expectations a bit. It won't be real money. It'll all be on testnet. If it goes down, so we can ensure fix, people are not going to be too upset. It's a bit of a it gives us a bit more room without. Sorry, yeah.
No, and sounds good, and I understand that. What is the final number that you have in mind for the Delta Force? Like how many participants?
We don't actually have one. I think we want as many as possible because we basically want to almost test it exactly how production will be tested. So if I could have 5,000 people who jump on as soon as we release it, then that would be great. There's some infrastructure costs there for us, but at this point, it's definitely worth it to have a totally hot environment which acts the same way, has very similar data, has very similar players, and allowing us to just really hammer it and make sure that whatever leaves that platform to go onto production and go live is already battle tested. So that's that we really don't have an upper limit.
Yeah, sweet. I've just got one more question, which goes back to the last AMA that we had, and when I did say that when you have 5,000 players queuing up mechs, multiple servers, etc., we saw an example of people paying ridiculous amounts of subs to put their mechs in queue, which was a method to discourage players. And as the subs cost goes up to deploy your mechs, the idea from what I was reading originally was to discourage people to line or queue their mechs as the price goes up. Obviously, we didn't see that happen. How are we going to change that in the future?
I got to be honest, I don't have a quick, easy answer on this one. I was so surprised. We turned the system on and we didn't even actually announce it yet. We kind of wanted to turn it on softly and have players discover it, slowly and trickle in rather than blasting an announcement out at everyone. Instead, what happened was everyone found it right away, and they all jumped in. And within like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, there was almost 1,000 mechs in the queue. I was blown away. I really did not expect that, and we quickly refunded all of those people because at that point we'd made it one sub per entry. I do want to make it clear that sub doesn't technically go to us. It goes to the syndicate, and that goes back out as contract rewards. So it's not as simple as like a fee that we collect from. But yeah, suddenly people were paying 600-700 subs. And this is by the way 600 or 700 in the queue for each syndicate. And I think Zaibatsu was even worse, obviously.
Right.
So there was people paying 1,000 subs.
2,000 dirty Zaibatsus and less than 100 of the others.
Yes,
but that's
right.
how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And that's a great. I think it's a great moment for your game that there is that level of interest. I know that there's obviously 2,000 wayward souls, and we can forgive them for that. But I think this is where it's very important when we talked about multiple instances of the game, and this is where fighting over particular territories would make sense, because you would queue up your mech to fight in a particular territory that you can watch. It's worth something to consider down the track.
Yeah, it is something we're considering sooner than down the track, to be honest. So for the relaunch, we already have 2 more like game maps coming in 2 different locations, and I'm talking. We're gonna investigate our infrastructure and see if it makes sense to split them into 3 separate streams. So it could be something we do sooner than later. I just obviously, like I always say when I'm up here, I don't want to commit to anything especially without running it through our new testing platform. But yeah, it has become very clear that people want their mechs in the battles, and that's really cool. And I think it's our responsibility to make sure that people get to have that experience. So we're going to do as much as we can to make that a reality. Cool. I hope that answers your question. And I hope people realize that we understand that it is a problem, and we definitely are working to fix it.
Hey guys, how's everybody tonight?
Hey Daniel. Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. Yesterday I typed a recommendation for potentially a new voting action, and I believe Kyle responded, but I'd like to mention it to you. The voting action would be, let's say someone chooses a target, an area on the map, and they can move either 1, 2, or all of the mechs of your team to this location. And this could be used strategically in a number of ways. For example, let's say you notice some of your mechs are just getting really tore up and you want to kind of have them fall back for a little bit. Or on the other end, you have them all together and you see them basically they're outnumbering one other mech who's kind of just out in the middle of nowhere, and you just want them to take the advantage and just take them out. I think that would be neat because it would add a little element of strategy and some human control instead of just letting the AI just dictate what actions they're going to do.
So, a bit of a spoiler, but we're actually right on the same page, and we have that special ability in the works, and it'll be something that certain players will kind of own themselves and bring into their syndicates. So we're calling the ability Mech Commander, and it will essentially function like the same way as the syndicate abilities, but only certain players will have this ability, and it will be something they share with the other players when they're online. So it's going to be a fairly cool, like player-driven thing. Yeah. We thought of that ability like right from when we started, and we essentially have a big tank of abilities that we'll be bringing in slowly. You know, we don't want to kind of overwhelm everyone with 1,000 abilities right from the start. So these will slowly be released and dropped to the community. And yeah, that one is it's so it gives the players that feeling of control and participation even more so than the current abilities. So it's one we are really looking forward to seeing go live.
Okay, great. You kind of brought up what my second and last question would be. So we will eventually have player syndicates, right? So if we were to create our own syndicate, would we be able to choose out of the pool of the list of special abilities that you were alluding to?
Yeah, definitely. That will be something players will be able to trade and purchase from the in-game systems, and there'll be functions for actually like creating these abilities within the base system. So you know, some abilities will require certain buildings and things like that. So yeah, that's definitely on the roadmap.
Awesome. Thanks for answering my question. You guys have a good day. Thanks.
You too. Thanks, Daniel.
Hi, gentlemen. Nesher here. My first my first piece of advice is, rather than the Delta team, I think we should name it X Force, and I'm crossing my arms, and that rather than Delta Force. Secondly, when the game went down, I had a lot of subs. I have 8 mechs. I had a lot of subs dedicated. Will that be refunded when it comes back up?
Yeah, the actual transactions for queuing is being refunded as we speak. So one of our team members is currently going through the transactions and reversing them. So you should actually see that hit your account today. I say today as an Australian, so like within the next 12 hours.
No worries, because I have 500 and something subs I guess up in limbo. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you that. Go ahead.
You'll see it. You'll see it come back.
No worries. I just wanted to tell you, I'm a 52-year-old mech warrior. So in terms of this game, I've been waiting for something like this to come out for the longest time, and thank you very much. I'm an investor, so if you guys need any backing and stuff like that, just all you have to do is ask, because I've been waiting for something like this to come along for a while. And thank you very much for creating this project.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much for the great feedback. And yeah, we feel the same way, and that's why we just decided to do it ourselves. And I've always been a big fan of mechs, so yeah, here we are.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, gents.
Thank you.
Thank you. For all those tuning in at the moment, we've created a live broadcast AMA text channel. It's under the community tab along with general chat. And so it should be second under general chat, called live broadcast AMA. If you have text questions to ask, or want to have conversations in there as we discuss things, feel free to jump into that channel.
Hey there, guys. Just wanted to say, first off, thank you for not shying away from the community's questions, because I know when things don't go quite as what's expected, it's hard to put yourself out there. So I do really appreciate that communication, and I think a lot of others do too. One thing I'll try and be brief, because I'm asking kind of on behalf of myself and 6 other friends I brought to the game. The QMech bug where the subs kind of disappeared and weren't recorded on the transaction. It did look like that happened on 2 separate occasions. I did want to ask that the transactions don't always seem to appear on like the player client side of the passport. And do you guys actually maintain and keep that data just in case we don't have a record of it?
So the actual like available funds and what's tracking your movement of subs through the system is a full double accounting system, essentially like very simple, like really close to a blockchain. And if it doesn't end up on your transactions, it doesn't actually come out of your account because of the rapid transaction system, especially the Supremacy uses, where people are firing off really tiny amounts of subs every essentially hundreds a second. We do have a hot cache in front of that, which maintains your visible available funds. Now, with the recent like crash of one of the systems, that cache may have gone out of sync, but it syncs up pretty quickly, and they'll match up. And essentially, subs can't just disappear out of your system because it's tallied from your transactions. So there is there is that consistency. So if you saw it move out of your available funds, it may have been held by the system and then released later, and therefore you wouldn't see an actual transaction there. It's kind of like when you get a credit card charge and it's sitting there pending, but then they revoke it and it disappears. It's exactly like that. So you can go through your transactions and count up exactly what's there, and that will 100% match your available funds.
Perfect. So basically, anytime subs move, there is like a record of it within the system, even if it's like a pending transaction that has to work its way through.
Yeah, that's right. And if that pending transaction fails, like it does not come out of your account. It's impossible for it to. The whole system is calculated using the ledger. So there's no, apart from a hot cache to make transactions at least process quicker, until it's written to the ledger, it's not permanent.
Got it. And then based on, I guess something you answered earlier, anyone with who experienced some subs bugs or things like that should expect that sometime today Perth time, it's just going to be worked through, hopefully.
Yeah, so because we have that transaction reference, we just go through them, and all the ones that match up will issue refunds. So it's not even like a rollback of the transaction. It's just another transaction coming out of the either the treasury or the syndicate account, depending on which one it was.
Awesome. And I'll try and keep it short, but a lot of us who kind of aped in and joined the game, we had a ton of fun on the first stream, and the amount of changes was a little bit, I guess, surprising on the next go around. And I know that not all systems were working as expected. But one concern that came up for like some of my friends is they had basically spent up all their subs to queue, and as they lost, they no longer had that ability to like get back into the queue. And so I was curious if I don't know if it's feasible, but is there a way that players could determine the size of their deployment costs, like within a set range? Is that, or maybe that's completely irrelevant depending on what's coming down the line?
Yeah, so there is a new system coming that will be a bit clearer. And I saw someone put an idea into feedback that Lucas gave us this morning, where players will actually be able to sponsor mechs to come in, and we like that idea, so we might explore that a little bit. So yeah, we've got a new system already that we think will work better, and we are open to more ideas. So if you haven't put it into the feedback channel, or if that was your idea, then please do so. So essentially, we'll fix what the problem is now, and then look at like better mechanisms that the players prefer. Also, your friends will have their queue fees returned to them.
Awesome. Very exciting. And appreciated. Very last thing, and I'm going to leave the floor. I understand that the subs for spectating the matches, there were a lot of measures put in place to, I guess, mitigate bots and I guess bad actors. One thing I did notice is that even with like the super supporter buff and even multiple faction wins, the rate did seem pretty drastically reduced even when I was particularly active, and totally understandable if that needs to happen from like an economic standpoint. I was just curious if there were plans to bring things closer to the previous stream before this last one, or is that just a product of an early build and maybe an alternate system?
Yeah, new systems will come in, and the syndicates themselves will experience a different way that will be distributed. And we're also going to bring in a little bit more aggressive anti-botting and non-participation buffers, because that's essentially why the trickle back from the spoil of war was noticeably different. We really experienced, even with the measures we put in place, people were able to game it. Like, I don't even think they got that much, but just at the number that it was happening, it was noticeable across the entire spread. So in the relaunch version, we'll definitely have a different mechanism that will be noticeably better.
Awesome. Thank you so much for answering the questions, and very excited for the game. I'll leave the floor. Thanks.
No worries. Yeah, thanks for the good question.
So we've got a question from the live broadcast AMA text channel, Alex. It's a question about in-game purchasing. Robin Nerd would like to ask, what is the ability to purchase in-game without going through a third party to buy subs to refuel for the game? Is that something we're looking at? A future?
Yeah, that's definitely something we'll have in game. After the sale is fully closed on the 13th, there will be a mechanism to get subs into your account. It'll work fairly, relatively similar to the sale, and will be informed by exchange rates. So yeah, it's definitely something we're going to support.
Excellent. We've got another question here in the text channel from Professor Plum. What is the progression on stuck mechs? Players have had a couple of mechs that got stuck when trying to go both on-world and off-world. And as I understand it, there was a locking mechanism so that when players minted and transitioned on and off-world, it would have their mech locked for a brief period of time so that it wouldn't be queued up in game and utilized or sold on second for the potential when NFT marketplaces are on, that a mech transitioning off-world couldn't also be sold. We are optimizing that system and introducing new mechanisms to assist with transactions on and off-world for transporting mechs.
Yeah, there's a team already dedicated to resolving those issues, and we've pretty much remove the locks, and as the let's say you bring a mech back into the game, it might already have a place in the queue, and your mech's already queued. It may even play a battle without having an owner. We're actually, when we gave it a bit more thought, we were like, that actually makes sense, and then we don't have to worry about locking and unlocking when people want to get their NFTs out. So yeah, it'll be a lot smoother next week.
Excellent. I'm sure people are excited for that transition and that smooth movement off-world and on-world. So we got another question here about camera angles. What were the latest updates to the camera, and will we see interactive camera controls in the future?
So we had actually had two devs working on improving the cameras. You will notice that there's less like quick pans and the camera getting confused about which piece of action it wants to look at. That's been resolved. We've made the cameras a bit more strategic in their angle, and hold on the action for longer, and then whenever there's a kind of framing shot, like a low angle, to give you the feeling of scale from the mechs, like those are quicker. So we've lengthened the amount of time the camera watches important battle happening, and sped up the amount of time the camera kind of frames the shot.
Excellent. We'll come back onto stage, and we've got Bad Download and BTC Buddies with us. Bad Download, are you still with us?
I actually want to talk about the last question just quickly. Sorry. I just remembered that our media guy is putting out, or has put out, a YouTube video on the cameras. So yeah, anyone interested, maybe check that out. I don't know if it's out yet. I just know I saw it yesterday, and I think it was going out yesterday, but it may be coming out today. But if it comes out, if it's already out, or when it comes out, we'll share the link.
Yeah, it's still on its way out, and we'll share that link around when it releases shortly.
Hi everyone.
Hey, Bad Download. Sorry for talking over you.
That's all right, man. Hey, my question. I'm coming from Wellington, NZ, by the way. So hello. My question is about. I mean, I heard you guys saying a couple of AMAs ago about how you're excited about the community sort of having such a big influence on the game, and sort of just sort of where it's going, and you talked about an underground dark market, things like that, which was pretty cool, I thought. Do you guys have any guidelines or anything on that for content creators in terms of if what you can and can't do to support the game? Do you know what I mean? Because if I was, say, interested in creating like a community NFT or something like that like was associated with like my group, like Zaibatsu or something like that. Have you got any sort of guidance on what can and can't be done? I guess is a good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. To be honest, we don't, but we should. So yeah, if you could maybe provide a bit more information into the feedback channel under community. Okay. Yeah, we can action that, because it's I love the idea. It's not something we kind of thought about.
Yeah, well, because I do like YouTube and all that kind of thing. So probably, just considering some of those options, those things would be useful, I would say. So yeah, I can start chatting away about that if you guys are happy with that, and in the Discord.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you for that.
No worries. And I've got a couple other questions. In terms of piloting the mechs, are we going to be potentially limited on the pilots per se? Is Supremacy going to be creating those NFTs, or could I pull one of my Matrix NFTs, which is also on the Unreal platform, to potentially sit inside my mech and fight for me, which would add a whole nother level of coolness?
Yeah, we'd definitely love to support that kind of thing. We'd have to work with that project to make sure the kind of translation between systems makes sense. It's definitely something we could support and want to support. It does require a bit of collaboration, but it is something we have always envisioned. And sometimes it doesn't require collaboration. Like we can totally take a Star Atlas ship, for instance, and make it a one-for-one translation into a like similar styled mech, or maybe in future we set in space, and it is almost without violating their IP, it's a kind of translation of their ship. That's the kind of thing where we're really excited to be able to support. But with the pilots, that's a bit more complex, where we want to make sure the AI that's created to represent that AI shares similar features and makes sense as a translation. So it's definitely something we can support, but there are a lot of technical boundaries to actually arriving at it.
Yeah, I definitely understand. Yeah, and you've also got like different these they're on different platforms essentially. Different NFTs, like the Matrix ones are on Nifties and stuff. So yeah, that would probably, if it wasn't cross chain, etc., cause issues. Yeah, for sure. Anything else? Oh yeah, so this may have been covered already, or I've just been too lazy to read it. But what are the rules around like streaming? Because you did mention something about Twitch having some weird, or not wanting to clash with Twitch or something. But what about like say if I was going to stream all my battles onto my YouTube channel, is there anything? Yeah, again, like anything I have to be concerned about with that kind of thing, or can you just start streaming?
No,
'Cause,
definitely.
it's got yeah, sorry, you go.
Oh, so there's no limitations there. You can absolutely stream Supremacy without violating any of their guidelines. For us, it was just the whole subsystem, the fact that it was a crypto project. Like actually,
Yeah. Okay,
so in our original builds, the actual game UI was built as an overlay on top of Twitch.
Yeah.
And thankfully, it wasn't a complex thing to decouple them. But that was our first plan, and then it was we came to realize two problems with that. One, their TNCs we would have ended up being deplatformed, and the second one was the actual latency on Twitch is not great, and we wouldn't be able to control that. So it just made sense for us to roll out our own platform. It wasn't an easy decision because it wasn't a small undertaking, but as for just streaming the gameplay, that's fine. I mean, there's all kinds of things that are like streamed on Twitch. It was mainly our actual game user interface that would have had us removed.
Cool. I think that was pretty much it. Yeah, but appreciate your time. And yeah, so I'm a senior product designer. So I'm obviously very interested in UI UX stuff like that, branding. So yeah, again, shout out if you guys need any help with that. You got a pretty awesome team from what I can tell. But yeah, that option's there too. So
yeah, thanks for that. We'll definitely reach out.
Okay, cool. Cheers, guys.
Hi guys, how you going?
Hey, not bad. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I think thanks for bringing me on board, and obviously all the questions is more relates to is the game. I'm gonna ask some harsh questions more towards the marketing side of Supremacy, and also the pancake swap liquidity pool and around circulation supply. So the first question is obviously we're going based on what I read on the announcement yesterday. Obviously we're doing some sort of Brave marketing again, and as what we saw last time, the Brave marketing was actually one of the best marketing ideas you guys brought across basically to Supremacy. What else are we doing to basic? I think the product is amazing. It's about taking to the market and creating that hype around that product, which is kind of unique. I mean, I haven't seen any AI-based game in the market as of yet. But this is something unique. It's a different space. But what are we doing to reach that masses who likes to play the game, who likes to be involved? Because I've seen every other NFT project can bring 80, 100K members to the Discord, but why are we struggling? I mean, where are you guys lacking? I mean, where can we help as a community to you guys and give you that extra hand to go out in the market and advertise for Supremacy?
It's a good question. So Brave was by far the best spend we did in marketing, and we spent a lot of money in other places, and we explored every other avenue, and we even we had a couple different very large prominent marketing companies work with us, and one who are over in the UK worked very closely with us trying to get us into all the mainstream advertising platforms, and every time we were rejected. They basically have they all have strict policies on not allowing crypto game projects onto their platforms, and this essentially meant that the only advertising platforms we had access to were crypto specific ones, and they generally all they would get us is really low value impressions and often bots, and so that just became very, very apparent that that was a waste of our time and money. And one thing we promised we would never do is inflate our numbers with bots, and it's something we've actually been criticized for, which I found a little confronting, but I understand it. People want to see 80,000 Discord members, whereas what I want to see is 5,000 online Discord members. Having 100,000 people who have joined your Discord but not actually verified. The only potential value is some people just look for the number, but anyone savvy knows that that project paid for bots, and we never paid for bots. We still got them, but we never paid for bots. And I will never pay for bots. I'll never pay for follows. Anything we got by working hard at it, and doing it. They're real people. Our Twitter followers, are real. And if they're not, it's not because of something we've done directly. So that's been something we've always stuck with. Now the Brave impressions was phenomenal, and we did 2 Brave homepage takeovers, one global with US. The global one was really good, and the US was amazing. And so the global the takeovers we've scheduled for the 12th and the 13th are US takeovers, and where we've basically been told by Brave themselves, and we've experienced it, that for those 2 days, we're going to get about 40 million impressions from unique impressions, and there's nowhere else out there that can provide that, especially for a crypto project.
Look, I actually like the Brave marketing, because I actually for that particular reason, I downloaded Brave on my phone and my computer to see how it actually advertising looks like, and it looked pretty good. But having said that, you got 770,000 impressions on the website, but out of that, there's only 4,000 added members on Discord and probably 3,000 added members on Twitter. I mean, how else can we go to Brave and say, you know what, I know people are coming, they're looking at our ad, they're coming to our website, but why aren't they joining the Discord or Twitter? I mean, and I actually like the trailer video, to be honest. That could have been a way to go. I mean, that trailer is, I can compare it to Star Atlas, who I think just because of the trailer they released, they brought a lot of people, a lot of gamers onto their Discord and their Twitter channels. So why can't, if we are going to Brave, is there any way that we can actually play that video on their front page? Because that, I think that video can actually tell how good is the team and what are they working on the project and how to bring as many people or as many gamers or investors to the Discord and Twitter channel. I mean, have you guys communicated that how we can actually play that video, or maybe give a link to that video which can be played on another tab on the browser? Is that part of the marketing strategy for 12th and 13th?
Yes, that's a great question. And it is definitely part of our strategy for the 12th and 13th. And you'll see some changes to our homepage that makes the trailer prominent. And it's why we've been working on the trailer. Unfortunately, Brave has some pretty strict guidelines about the how the advertising is presented. So they actually have a page. I think Kyle can probably share it on Discord and Telegram, of every single advertising campaign that has been on Brave. They're all made public, and you'll notice that essentially they all look like wallpapers. They are wallpapers, and so they have really strict guidelines on how your stuff's presented. Because Brave, unlike all other advertising platforms, is opt-in. So you essentially say, yeah, I'm okay with receiving these ads, and I, as a Brave user, am okay with receiving the ads because they're always interesting and they're often really cool artwork as well. And I have never clicked through as many adverts as I have on Brave, just as a user. I found Upland through Brave. I've actually discovered several crypto projects purely through Brave. So it was one of the reasons we knew, we had a good feeling that the Brave would actually return, because it's worked on us. And I can honestly say no other advertising platform online has worked for me. I don't click on Google ads. I don't click on Facebook ads. So we're pretty bullish about it. To go back to the trailer, that is what people will, that's like when we do the homepage takeovers, that'll be when they hit the website, that'll be the first thing they experience about us. And we're pretty confident, like you say, that that will make them confident about us and our team. And I do want to use this opportunity to make that comparison with Star Atlas, in that that trailer that we made is entirely game engine. So they're all real assets from the game. The animations are all the real animations from the game. We made it in Unreal. We didn't use much CGI. I think that the only CGI that we used was the flying through the city and the AI. And we kind of had to use CGI to make that look as cool as it does, but everything else is all in-game engine. And it itself is proof that we know how to make cool things in Unreal. Whereas Star Atlas's trailer, while cool, is entirely CGI.
And I can understand that. Okay, I think that's a good. We will be able to use all those assets which is on the trailer in game, which is obviously a good thing. Have you guys tried to approach any influencers? You talk about Alex Becker, who's mainly working with a lot of metaverse projects to pump their projects and obviously create that awareness in the public that this is one of the best projects. I mean, we understand that AI-based metaverse game is not in the market, so this is kind of unique in this space. But if So happy. I know Crypto Wendy was a good pick because I really like to hear her all the time because she talks good all the time. I've been following her for a year now. I was actually glad that you brought her on board, but why can't we approach, or have you guys approached people like Alex Becker, the London Crypto, JRNY, all these big dudes who has over 1 million followers on Twitter? Don't know whether they're real or not, or they're bots. I don't know about it, but I'm pretty sure at least half of them are real because they get a lot of comments on their tweets and stuff like that, and I can see there's not bots commenting, it's actually actual human commenting on and trying to interact with other people on their Twitter channel. So have you approached any big influencers in the market, and what sort of feedback you got from them?
Yeah, we have. I mean, we engaged Crowd Create, which is supposedly the number one influencer marketing in the crypto space, and we kind of tasked them with connecting us with all the tier one influencers, and we had conversations with quite a lot of them, and we saw some content come out. The guys who are kind of less your influencer and more your personalities, like Alex Becker, we definitely tried to get to them. They have a lot of gatekeepers because they're not, essentially you can't just pay them to look at you. You have to organically get to them. Alex Becker is an interesting one because I actually own a Neo Tokyo S1 citizen. I'm part of the Neo Tokyo community. We've done an AMA in Neo Tokyo, and that got quite a lot of individuals from Neo Tokyo on board and into the community, but it didn't. They didn't seem to kind of take to it and pump it up to that level that that Alex Becker would get to see it. I don't quite know why. My feeling is that the projects that kind of get serious attention from the likes of Alex Becker are not actually games. They're more purely your NFT collection, maybe with the promise of a game later. And I'm, I would have thought we would track better because there's the game coming out at essentially the same time, but that hasn't played out like I would hope it would, or it potentially is just because these kind of interactions and getting noticed by these kinds of people are much slower. We do have a team whose entire responsibility is forming partnerships, and we've got some big partnerships to announce very soon. Like some big names in this space with a lot of, as you say, really organic, genuine followers. And I'm fairly certain, judging by from the news I read from LAN, if you're familiar with LAN, that we'll be able to announce these within the next few days. So yeah, it's obviously a strategy we've been pursuing right from the start. It's more like a time versus noise problem. These guys who, like you say, have 1 million followers and their own successful projects, they're far less approachable than your BitBoys. And in saying that, we actually did have we actually did start a conversation with BitBoy, and then he announced that he was going to change the nature of his channel and got I think he decided that he wanted to become legit and less influencer and more personality. So we'll see how that pans out. But influencer marketing was our first strategy, purely because we had no other avenues at the time, and it's not been as successful as we would like. Wendy was like Crypto Wendy. She's amazing, and I'm really thankful that she started a partnership with us. And doing the AMA on her channel was really cool, and we'll definitely, we'll seek to probably do another one there. It's obviously up to her, but we're definitely looking to create more partnerships like that with the genuine personalities in the space, and they're really hard to find, honestly. We've had coverage from influencers who boast huge numbers. And then, as you say, you look at their comments, and it's like it's like 500,000 views on the video and 3 comments, and they're all the same. This space is unfortunately full of scammers, and it's been an interesting task, like sorting through them, but we've been pretty good at that, and our partnership with Matty Greenspan has been really productive. Again, though, the kinds of people we connect through in those networks, it's a much slower process. They're so busy, and they don't actually need anything from us. So we have to convince them that we're worth even talking to, and then once we start talking to them, we have to then convince them that we're worth giving a bit of their time to. And it's not even really a financial thing. It's really actually connecting with them and providing a more holistic value to them for the value they give us. But we've had a team dedicated to that, and there'll be some pretty good news around it released very soon.
Thanks for explaining that. I'm glad that we are approaching all these big people and try to bring their followers to Supremacy, which is obviously the way to go. Look, I know I'm taking a bit longer. A couple of more questions. One thing I would like to know is for you to find out where did we go wrong, as in not as a project and product. I mean, we started with the NFT hype to start with, rather than doing everything in one day and try to achieve, everything from launching an NFT to launching a game to starting a marketing campaign 2 days before the launch. Everything, I think it was too much load on you guys, as far as I am concerned, with what I can say, rather than going phase by phase advertisement from a launches, as far as the game perspective is concerned, and doing a proper testing. I mean, a lot of metaverse games I've seen in the market, they first bring those alpha citizens in the actual game before the actual launch, and they make them do the trial again and again, until they know there's no bugs has been found with the game, and then they go out and launch it to the public, rather than bringing everyone together and then finding out what went wrong, and then going back and correcting the mistakes and fixing the bugs, rather than and I like the fact that you guys actually created the new community Delta Force recruitment, where a limited amount of people are going to test it, trial it, before you go out and release it in public. I mean, where did we go wrong? I mean, don't you think that NFT hype would be the first way to proceed, and then followed up with the game maybe 3 or 4 weeks later? Would that be a better way to go, or you guys think that what you did was the best strategy?
No, I agree with you. And if we could go back in time, I'd be less ambitious. If we just focused on the NFT drop and brought the game in a bit later, that would have definitely taken a lot of stress off the team, and that's a regret. And we definitely were ambitious to hit the 22nd of February deadline. That was a mistake we made. Was kind of we really wanted to do something special on that day, and that day ended up dictating a lot of our development strategy. And a post-mortem of our stalled launch, that is essentially the reason why it went like it did. So yeah, and that's a criticism I fully accept, and we definitely won't repeat that mistake again. In saying that, we were always really set on people being able to use their mechs, really quickly, use their NFTs, actually make use of it. It's something that's really important to us. But if I could go back 4 weeks, I would definitely stage the releases a bit more comfortably. And you know what? Purely to actually take stress away from my team. That's my biggest regret. That's there were definitely team members who ended up feeling a lot more stressed than they ever should have. So yeah, no, you're right, and it's definitely something we've learned from.
And I appreciate that you accepted that mistake, which is kind of hard. And you're doing the AMA after releasing the news yesterday, and this morning you are sitting at the table and answering all these tough questions, and I really appreciate that. And being a private investor, I mean, I've been following this project for the last 4 months, and I think I have shared my opinion and my feedback to Kyle, and being part of a lot of these DAO projects. I've been part of a lot of seed sales in DAO makers and other projects and being successful. And I've seen their strategy, how they go about their things from the start. And I know most of these projects didn't even release their games. And one thing which is plus for Supremacy, that okay, fine, you have something to show it to the community. You know what? We have got the game ready. There's some bugs which needs to be fixed. That's perfect. But I think it's a good idea to bring those private investors or handpick 10, 15, 20 people from outside the team to give you that kind of not advice, but the feedback that okay, this is the roadmap which we're giving to the community. What do you guys think about it? What's your opinion behind it? And you might not take all the opinions from all the people you brought in to give you some advice on it, but it's just about going back and rethink, saying that, okay, you know what, this is what we discussed, but Justin has given this sort of feedback, and I think to somehow incorporate this with our strategy would be a best for the community. And Carl would have accepted that I have gone to Carl plenty of times to talk to them about I want to vest my tokens. Being a private person, I want to vest. And I don't know how many people you'll find in the community who saying, I'm a private investor, but I want to vest because I think the project has the potential to be the top 10, if not top 5 of the metaverse projects of the future. And do you think that in the future, before implementing such aggressive roadmap, don't you think that it's a good idea to go back and maybe discuss with not your team, but the outside community perspective, which might give you a bit more insight of the investors and players and get you maybe rethink your strategy around it?
Yeah, we have an advisory board that is being fleshed out, and that's a strategy we started several months ago, and that would be further along than that's pretty far along and will be coming into play. Is definitely something we I agree with you there, and I like when people come up on stage here and give their hard feedback and their strong questions. So it's obviously something we're open to. Yeah, but thanks for the tough questions, and I know there's a lot of people who weren't willing to come up here and ask them. So I think that's
No, thanks for bringing me on stage, guys. Just one final question about the liquidity pool. So let's say if the token stays unsold, what will happen? Would that go to the treasury? Because a lot of people have no idea. When I put the comment on Discord on an Alpha Citizen chat, they had no idea what I'm talking about. So if you can just explain a bit more in detail that, okay, fine, if the token stays unsold or whatever the portion of it, it will go back to the treasury and would not be a part of the circulating supply. Would I be right by saying that, or am I mistaken?
So it goes back into treasury, and it won't be part of the immediate supply, but it will be there to eventually, not straight away, but eventually provide liquidity to players. So, and it won't compete with the open market. It'll be it'll be priced, informed by the kind of circulating value. Can't speak too closely on that because there's legal advice on how we can even talk about that but it goes back into Treasury and it won't circulate, and then it'll essentially be used in the game itself.
Thanks, guys. I think you have answered a lot of my harsh questions, and I really appreciate your time and effort in the game. We're all in together, and yeah, we are just looking forward for a successful project. Maybe 3 months, 4 months, 6 months down the track. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the hard questions.
Hey guys, I probably lost my train of thought a little bit after that time period because I had some sort of follow-on stuff a little bit to what download and even a little bit of what BT said in the early stages before it got more onto sort of the tokenomic side of the discussion around sort of the marketing and that. I was curious. You talked about, there was a bit of talk there about streaming and recasting and things like that. Have you looked at a function, and I think for a couple of our cool content producers here, a function where maybe there'd be even if it's only the last 2 or 3 matches, where you could, pull out a, like a video of that, a download file. I know a lot of, the real competitive games these days, it will store the last 5 games you were even just the ones you were involved with or something like that, and you can turn that feature on and off and do it yourself. Is that something you're looking at to support the sort of community being able to create a bit of content out of your awesome game? And before you answer that, I just want to say, go big or go home. I think that I know you're bit off a massive undertaking and that, but this is the first of its kind, and I've always learned, you got to test and learn. If you don't break it to begin with, how do you know what you do? So, I think go big, go home, and let the community make the decision for you, which you can see by the amount of people in this AMA. They're making the decision to back you the whole way. But, any ideas on on being able to pull videos out and stuff so people can make their own here's my mech and things like that?
Yeah, the plan is actually to store battles on YouTube. So you'll actually be able to go to YouTube and see the battle number. That's going to come in soon. We had plans to bring that in way sooner, but the change of strategy to roll out our own streaming infrastructure unfortunately meant that had to be pushed to the back burners. But it's definitely going to come in. So as soon as the battle completes, like 5 or 10 minutes later, you'll see it kind of upload to YouTube.
Oh, that's awesome. I think that'd be great for some of our content guys to help, give more exposure for you within the community and also add their bit of passion to it. And the other thing with that, sort of as an extension to that, are you looking at any stage, whether it be inviting someone from the community or someone you already have on board, to maybe do the odd, with that in the streams, a match calling, or, I think one of the biggest things when you're talking about, mechs competing each other, people love on a stream like that having someone scream out, "Oh my God, he just took such and such, just took him out," or, "Oh, here comes the community with a nuke." People love that hype. Are you looking at, doing a few, even if they're just once-off event streams with those sort of experiences?
Yeah, definitely. And I actually wanted commentary right from the start. And
you're a gamer. I know you probably would have.
Yeah. I think it'll definitely add an extra layer to the stream. So it's absolutely something we're working on. I think it'd be interesting to try to find the right voice for that. And yeah, maybe we will do events in the future where we kind of open it up to people like in chat to do something there. I can't make any promises around that, but it's definitely a conversation that happens around the office here. We're all kind of thinking like, one, we're so encouraged by how awesome the chat is, and seeing how people work together and then they strategize in their syndicate chats, and we're really looking at ways to take that to the next level, and that's one of them.
No, that'd be awesome. And yeah, I did a little bit of that a few years back for a few communities on a small scale. Nothing as grand as this, but yeah, that's why I just thought about it, and I think that'd be a great thing. And last but not least, in with that sort of marketing and those sort of things, you know, and you being gamers, you know, everyone loves their bit of merch or something. I know yeah, I know you're still working through the gold mech giveaway and things and those challenges, and I'm not going to hound you about that. We've got to let things work through because you've got a lot on your plate. But in terms of some sort of merchandise or reward to the community or things, not just in game, but have you looked at any actual physical stuff? You know, getting someone, you know, if they do something or get involved in a certain way, community, you know, they can get a chance of a 3D printed model of their favorite mech done and, you know, signed by you guys, or maybe I see your awesome artistry work there that you have with your little avatars in the Discord, you know, getting your artists to do up a cool little avatar picture of one of the community members for their contribution to the community. You know, you're looking at any of that sort of stuff in the near future, because, you know, gamers love their merch and they love their, you know, what my wife always tells me with my wall of them is their dust collectors and things like that. So got any plans for that sort of stuff? I think, you know, even if it's not to make money off, it's just about, you know, doing something so communities can share their passion projects.
Yeah, that we would definitely have plans around that. There's a merch store is definitely coming, and we actually already have a list of people that we want to thank from the community. And when things slow down a little bit, we'll actually be sending out some T-shirts at least to, you know, to community members who have really supported us without any kind of incentive to. So yeah, it's we're right on the same page there.
That's awesome. And you know, I think, yeah, that's great. And all I keep seeing is how you are just, you know, regardless of your challenges from a game point of view, I just want to say that it's very hard to be engaging with the community. Your mods are doing some great work in Discord, keeping, you know, certain things at bay in critical times and all of that. And just, yeah, I forget the broader marketing side of things and how you can pump the numbers on your game and all that sort of thing out into the greater world. My biggest feedback is, I'm looking forward to more that the community that are supporting you and are standing by you right now has something to show everyone, you know, what they love and the things that they enjoy. So looking forward to any of that sort of stuff. And yeah, been told I've got a pretty good radio voice, so I'm happy to audition as a caller if you want at any stage in the future. But other than that, no, awesome work you're doing. I know that there's probably some investors with some worries there at the moment about some of these challenges. But like I've said, you know, you got to go big and go home, and especially when, you know, you're doing something that's very much the first of its kind. So awesome work. You know, some might say you're bitten off some more than you can chew in some areas, but I think you're chewing it pretty damn well considering the grandeur of what you're putting forward. So, no, thanks for letting me up again today. Cheers.
Thank you. Thanks so much for the kind words. All right, Sushi.
Yeah, hello Alex, nice to meet you again. I've got some questions. Esports has been mentioned way earlier in AMAs. Is it planned to have some private arenas for 1-on-1, 3-on-3, and 5-on-5 matches?
It is something we're looking into. It has different hardware challenges than, you know, just launching more battle arenas. You essentially have to like spin up a virtual 3D world and, you know, stream that and then close it down, and that's quite a challenge. We may have to wait until we have a desktop client where you can actually connect to the world more like a traditional video game and you know, spectate from inside a world that's, you know, ostensibly rendered on your computer. So that's coming, and so when that arrives, then we can really look into the possibility of of kind of private matches and pop up battles. So it is something we're considering. There are some challenges around it, which means it relies on us completing some prior work first, but it's definitely something we will investigate further down the roadmap.
I think before launching phase 3, where they can be controlled via VR, I guess that's where the fun starts.
Yeah, so around then is, like you say, that's when it gets interesting, and that's when we can do things like what you're asking.
Yes, okay. Next question. The faction logos, are they protected in any way, licensed?
We are getting them trademarked, but the license will be pretty permissive for community members. So, I guess we'll basically issue the community the right to use them, as long as you're not kind of taking advantage of it or trying to sell your own thing, if you know what I mean. So we love seeing content made by our community, and the logos, etc., will be free to use for that content.
Okay, thanks. And I'm also interested in some 3D models for 3D printing, like mentioned before. So it might be
That's definitely, that's something where we're going to explore. Some of them, I think, will be a challenge, and some of them we could probably put out something very soon. Some of our 3D concept artists who don't do in-game modeling, they often use I can't remember the software. There's like a 3D sculpting software that's quite simple to use. It doesn't make in-game assets, but it makes nice 3D art, and they are 3D print ready. So some of the future mechs, we already have a 3D model that is 3D print ready, and that'll be something we explore when they start being released, and maybe we'll even Sketchfab, sorry. So we might even just release the Sketchfab models, and people can print them themselves.
fantastic. Thank you very much, Alex.
No problem. Thanks for the good questions.
Some crypto dude, are you up with us?
I sure am. Sorry, I didn't know if Spencer was next. I forgot to ask, what was the feasibility of larger scale matches like 5v5v5 or, I mean, who knows, even bigger? Was just ideating about, ways to help get the queue down, and that seems something that was kind of compelling to think about.
Yeah, we are fully intending to do really large scale battles. I I've been kind of pushing some of the Unreal devs to create the kind of scale worlds sooner that could support 100 versus 100 versus 100. It's definitely something we're investigating. I don't want to commit to a time frame around it, but I would love to see some real serious, heavy battle royales. So I think you can definitely expect it. It will come.
I gotta go get some more mechs. That's incredible. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for asking the question. All right. So I think as we approach lunchtime here, we'll wrap up, but we'll take two more questions. So I think Sushi's still here and Obi. How are we going?
Yeah, if if Sushi's done, I'll jump in very quickly. Just want to get back to a point that I forgot earlier, where the BC mechs obviously only have two hard points. One is a weapon, one is a melee weapon. Will they forever be disadvantaged by that, or is there a plan to even that up to the other mechs from the other factions, where they have three hard points?
There are some definitely some plans to bring something extra into the BC mechs. I don't want to mention anything because we kind of have to test it and make sure that it's not going to make them OP either. So there'll be some changes coming into at least a test environment, and we'll experiment and see what works.
Yeah, you can make them OP. I don't mind.
Of course you don't, but I'm pretty sure Red Mountain and Zaibatsu listeners would.
Yeah. All right, that's good. Just very last question, very quick one. When could we possibly expect to see, in its current form, a different map? So 3v3v3.
When the game relaunches next week, there will be at least one new map, maybe two. But yeah, it's a high priority that we relaunch with some new environments.
Sweet. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
No worries. Thanks for the good question. All right. So I see we've got no more requests. So I think we'll wrap it up there. Oh, we have one. We have one come in. All right, we'll take this one and then we'll wrap it up. So Flywheel, you just need to accept the invite to come up on stage.
Sorry about that. I'm not particularly familiar with Discord. You guys can hear me, or?
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Yeah, I apologize for that. I know the game had mentioned stuff about AI in the future. I was just a little bit curious about that. Is that going to be like an in-house programming language, or is that going to be like JavaScript or some other full-on coding language?
There will be support for JavaScript, and we are also working on a visual programming system. It's based on, so we use Unreal Engine for the game, and this is an abstraction essentially over the Unreal Blueprint system, which is it's a kind of like, imagine like like workflows, logic flows, and logic gateways. So it's a lot less of a barrier to entry for people who aren't programmers, and you can create some really amazing algorithms and systems with it. So yeah, we're going to make sure that it's relatively accessible. Obviously, there's always going to be a barrier, like a learning curve, but we're going to do our best to keep that learning curve as flat as possible.
All right. I think that answers my question. Yeah, I'm not too much of a programmer myself, but it sounds like something interesting and something I'd want to get into. But so that's good to hear that it's kind of somewhat simpler as opposed to full-on language. But I think that answers my question.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Flywheel. That's a good question, and one I really enjoy talking about.
No problem.
All right, everyone. I think we'll wrap it up there for now, and you can expect another AMA really soon. We'll probably do an AMA around the Delta Force in the next few days. So if you have any questions about our test program, and maybe you have some thoughts about how you could help or strategies we could take, wait for that AMA and join us, and let us know. All right. Thanks, everyone. You can always DM me. I have a few DMs waiting to be responded to, so I apologize for that. I'm absolutely hammered at the moment with requests, but I will always get to all of them. So thanks so much for being an awesome community. Cheers, everyone.